Hi guys. Um, just bear with me a bit here. Still not feeling on top of the world, but felt I needed to get in touch with you via a video, just to sort of try and put the rest of the semester into perspective for you, so that you're just not plodding along, unsure with what's going on and not having any direction. Um, so yeah, what we've got coming up is our what we would call our enterprise unit, where, as most of you know by now, we're going to be getting into our little businesses and we're going to be choosing some products to sell, and we're going to be getting into groups, and we're going to be coordinating all of those things, and we're going to get out there and sell them and try and make a profit. Typically at this time of the term, you guys would have a mini assignment where you guys would go and choose a product and create your own advertising materials for your own little business. You go and find a product and come up with a business name and a logo and slogan and a mission statement. And then what that does is that creates a pool of ideas that we would have for when we come back after the holidays, or just before the holidays. We'd have a pool of ideas so that when we get into our groups, we're able to draw on those ideas of potential products that we could sell, just to make it a little bit easier once we get into our groups. But because our semester was pushed back 2 weeks, we've cut that piece of assessment out. So yeah, we're doing things pretty quickly, and we've got a lot of things that we need to achieve before the holidays, but it doesn't help that I'm not there. So I need you guys to really make an effort and not stuff around too much, and just really get in and do what's expected of you over the next week and a half. So I'm going to be missing the Thursday lesson, and from what I understand, because of when my test was positive, I'm not due back in there until Tuesday, so that means I also miss Monday's lesson. So I'll set goals and benchmarks for you to try and achieve things in Monday's lesson and some structure, and you guys need to work towards that, so that we get everything that we need to get done before the holidays. All right, okay, so what we're aiming to do today is to finalize role preferences. Okay, it's for lack of a better term, a little bit of a dog's breakfast in our organization at the moment, just because we had so many people doing catch-up exams, and as a result, last lesson, I'm gathering there was a few people away, and I'm missing. Mrs. Brown gave me all of the application forms that were completed last lesson, and there's still about 15 that need to get done or get done properly. Okay, so your teacher's going to hand them out today. Those of you, well, I'll get to it actually. Finalize role preferences and continue with product selection. For those of you who haven't done it, complete your application forms, and then select and source potential products to sell next term. Okay, this is what the remainder of the semester looks like, okay, in terms of a little bit of structure. So for the remainder of this week, which is today's lesson, okay, finalizing our role selections or our role preferences that you guys would like. What's going to happen then is all of the rest of the role preferences will be given to me, just because I want to see, really it begins with who's put their hands up to be the managing directors. As I've said before, we're going to have 4 teams, okay, based on how big our class is. We're going to have 4 teams, so I need 4 managing directors, 4 bosses of the groups. So at the moment I've got 3, okay, and I've got a few people that listed managing director as their second preference, but ideally I'd like to choose the managing director from people who want to do it and have nominated as their first preference. So I'm not going to jump the gun and get the teams organized yet, with still so many application forms outstanding. I don't want to deny anyone the opportunity if they want to do it. So once I've got all of the application forms, I'm going to organize who the managing directors are. If there's only 4, then that makes life easy. If there's more than 4, then I need to make a a tough decision as to who's going to be our 4. I'm not going to be there. Typically, I would have brief little job interviews with you to whittle down those 4, but obviously I'm not there on Monday, and time is of the essence. So anyway, I'll organise who the managing directors are, and then those managing directors, I'm going to create a spreadsheet of what everyone's first, second, and third preferences are. Those managing directors are going to go off into a separate room, and they are going to take the list and the application forms, and they are going to decide who the teams are. And your teams aren't basically just getting to hang out with your mates. Your teams are based on what role you would like to do. Okay? Yes, you might end up in a team with 1 or 2 of your mates, but really the focus is on the role that you are choosing to do, and you will get allocated within a group based on that, hopefully giving you your first preference. And if you don't get your first preference, the aim is for you to get your second preference. Okay, so the aim is for Monday's lesson. After I've got all of these application forms back today, okay, I will sort them over the weekend. On Monday, the managing directors will organise the teams, and you guys will be in your teams that you're going to be selling in next term. Once you're in those teams, then you're going to work together to try and decide on the products that you want to order, try and find where we're going to order them from, and actually place the order. Now, we'll do that later on in the week when I'm there. I'll be there for Tuesday and Thursday lessons next week, all things going to plan. But yeah, you're going to get into your groups and then work together to decide on your products and find where we can order them from for a reasonable price. And then later in the week before the holidays, because ideally what we want to do is to place the order for our products before the holidays, so that gives us the time during the holidays for them to get shipped to us, ready for week 1. We come in first lesson week 1 and unwrap all of our goodies and start preparing them ready for selling. Depending on how organised you are with getting into our teams and deciding on our products and ordering the products, okay, then once you've got your products decided and ordered, then you need to decide on a business name, a logo, slogan, okay, decide on your pricing and advertising that's going to go up around in the school. Okay, we're going to have the posters, we're going to have pricing schedules on our stalls, we're going to put electronic things up on parades on a Monday. Okay, all of these things need to be developed. So depending on how organised you are, we're either going to be doing them there next term, or you can even make a start on them next week. So then we come back from holidays. Yep, so we're continuing to get ready for sell, getting our businesses all set up and ready to go. Okay, ready for selling, because then come week 2, 3, 4, we're going to be out there and selling in our lunch times. So yeah, I'll talk more about what that involves and how that's going to look and what the things are that we're doing around that in our lessons, but that is the primary focus of those weeks. Then week 5, we'll close down our businesses, balance up the cash and calculate how much profit we've made, yada, yada, yada. And then what you've got, the end assessment, is a fairly large report that you've got to write, which focuses and discusses and reflects upon your business and your efforts in doing that selling. Okay, so, and that will take us through the second half of next term. You'll submit that, and then we'll have a week up our sleeve to do other bits and pieces. Okay, so that's how things are going to look. So what we need to do, as I've said, okay, those who haven't done it, finalize and submit your role application forms. It needs to get done this lesson and submitted to your teacher so that it ends up on my desk, so that I can just finalize my spreadsheet and get my head in order as to what's happening with teams, so that I can get things organized for the managing directors to come in on Monday and get those teams sorted. So then from there, next week, we'll be organizing teams, getting into your teams, and then working together to decide on where to buy and order your stock, as I mentioned before, and then developing your business name, logo, slogan, so on and so forth. Okay, so guys, we've got a fair bit to do, and really, when it boils down to it, if we don't get through this and we don't, or you guys don't get into your teams and don't choose your product before the holidays, then I've got to do it. And those teams that haven't got it done will need to deal with whatever I decide and purchase during the holidays. So A, I don't want to spend my time doing it, and B, you guys probably won't be interested in selling what it is that I end up buying for you. So we need to get focused, get this stuff done and ordered before the holidays. Just to clarify, I'm sure Mrs. Brown took you through the positions. Those of you who have still yet to do your application form, okay, just to clarify, I've actually organised for this handout to go behind your application form because I'm not expecting the teacher to explain it to you because they're probably not business teachers. So a bit of a background about what all the roles are. Managing Director is the grand doodah of each team, and once you're in your teams, you run the show, okay? During that period of selling, I'm just a person in the room. The Managing Director is the boss and is the person who has the vision, organises the team, and keeps things running, and the team is accountable to those people. Okay, so the Managing Director is the boss of the respective team. Sales and marketing, going to be working on sales rosters and developing the marketing materials, developing the posters, developing the logo and the slogan, and all of those bits and pieces that are going to be out there promoting your business. So hopefully those people are going to be fairly creative and confident and self-starter trying to make things happen. And I've got a bit of details there about what the role entails. Communications, what we're going to be having several times a week during the selling period particularly, and in the lead up to selling, is we're going to be having meetings, as we would when we're running a business, is we're going to be having meetings. And so the communications director is essentially the secretary, taking notes and making sure the decisions are documented within the business, just like any business does when they have their formal meetings. Okay, so communications is going to handle that, and potentially coordinating with the sales and marketing to write the notices, and communicating possibly with other people around the school to get things happening for your team. Finance, handling the money. You guys are going to have a budget, okay? So now you'll each have a few $100s to spend on your product. Okay, so you guys need to think about how many items of a particular product you think you can sell. Okay, your budget is a few $100. I don't give you an ironclad budget. It just needs to be realistic of what you think you can sell and make a profit during that period. Okay, and if you can justify that to me, then I will support you. Okay, but just keep in the back of your mind, your budget for your stock is a few $100 each. Okay, you'll get a cash float, meaning you'll get a cash tin with about $80 in it of different denominations. You'll have notes and coins and things like that, and so you've got to count the cash and balance the till after selling every day. Last year was the first year that we had an EFTPOS machine. Unfortunately, it's only one EFTPOS machine between everyone. So logistically, it's going to be a little bit difficult because we're going to have 4 businesses in our class, and I'm pretty sure Miss Dargish's class has got 4 businesses as well. So we'll have to coordinate and not sell at the same times, which we won't, but we'll iron out those details later on. Finance, it's fairly full on, and I'm thinking about having 2 finance people per group this semester, okay, because there's typically a lot to do in finance with counting the cash and making sure that our sales match up with how much cash is in the tin, okay? But an important job, and for those people who like the money and didn't mind accounting, that's a good role for you guys. Production, you're going to be handling the stock. Okay, when it comes in, you're going to be doing a stock take. You're going to be checking for damage, and just making sure. And on selling days, it'll be mostly your job to handle security, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit more detail later on. But just everything relating to counting and maintaining the stock for your business, okay, will be your job there for production. So that's that. All right. So those people that have still got to do it, get it done, hand it to the teacher this lesson, okay? Has to be done. For those of you who have done it, okay, I'm pretty sure Mrs. Brown got you to start on some product searching, okay? Typically this would get done as part of the little assignment that I was talking about earlier, but because we're not doing that, it is important, okay? Don't just think, oh, this is just a waste of time. What you're using this time to do is to have your own influence on what products might get sold in your business next term, okay? So when you guys get into your businesses, what the purpose of this is to have a whole bunch of different ideas from which to draw on, so that you're not all just sitting around in a group looking at each other going, duh, what do we do? Okay, we want to go and create a whole bunch of ideas from which to draw on. So I'm not sure if this is the exact one that I directed you to on curriculum, but it's the same idea. Okay, so you need to go and find a product that you think will sell within the school environment. Okay, and so that's economics, that's not it. Ideas that we've had previously. Okay, we're thinking about what do you think students might like to buy. So typically the students that are buying stuff are the younger age groups. You need to think about your target market. It needs to have a fairly cheap price point because kids aren't coming to school loaded with cash. And we're not doing food. Okay, food is always out. And also nothing that's going to upset the workplace health and safety officer of the school. So they need to be fairly safe items. Okay, so things that we've done in the past or thought about, okay, stationery, sunnies, jewelry was a big one last year from the Shein website. Other groups did tech decks and sticky hands and bouncy balls. There were novelty socks. Groups have done bandanas. They were done at swimming carnivals. Sporting goods, perhaps handballs, things like that. Mandalas, phone accessories, crystals were a big one from Shein last year as well. Phone accessories can be a bit of a hard one because there's so many different types of phones. Stickers have been done before. I've also had groups focusing on making their own stuff. Okay, I had groups that have made slime tie-dye shirts, gone the extra mile and found recipes for bath bombs and made them, and same with lip balms. And there was the Stutchbury twins and Sam Rogers and Mac Rogers the year before that did 3D printed stuff. So there are a bunch of ideas that you might go for. Websites that you could possibly look at might include, so as I said before, there's Shein. Go and get yourself lost in that website. I'd prefer not to. There was Sunrise Imports. There's one that we've used before. Sunrise Imports. You're trying to source them cheap. Obviously, you want to get these products cheap so that then you can put a markup on them and make a profit. There's no point buying items and paying retail price, and then you've got to essentially sell them for the same price and make no profit. So there's a whole bunch of things to choose from down here. So I think there's jewelry, perhaps, stationery, sporting and camping, toys and games. Kmart works as well. We've bought stuff from Kmart before. We need to avoid Chinese websites, okay? We're not getting anything from China because it takes too long at the moment, so we need to use Australian websites. Okay, that's the one stipulation. Once upon a time, we used to be able to use Chinese websites and they would get here over the holidays, but it doesn't work anymore. So we've got to focus on Australian websites. So guys, go looking for product, okay? And we're creating a bank of ideas so that when you get into our groups, okay, we can go, right, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea, what can we run with, okay? And it takes the stress off the managing director and the rest of the group next week when we're trying to find something. So find a product, put the description of the product in there, where it's coming from, get a copy of the web link, okay, the URL, paste it in there so that we can go back to it at a later point. How many you think we might be able to order, and then do some quick maths, okay? The unit price, whether there's shipping involved, and then calculate what the total order might be and how long it's going to take to get here, because we want it to arrive during the holidays. Okay, so when you're going through this process, save it onto your computer, please save it. Put your name at the top. Well, we won't have a business name yet because we're not in our businesses. As I said, the one on curriculum might look slightly different to this, but it's the same idea. I'd also like for you to print it as well. Before the end of the lesson, print one, and don't just settle for one product. If you've got multiple ideas, okay, put them in there, okay? Go looking for things that we can sell. All right, I've talked for too long, so I'm going to leave it there. Let's get in and get some stuff done, please, guys. All right, I'll talk to you again a bit later. Bye.